Hey YouTubers, it's Craig the Muskoka Painter here. Today we're going to be talking about brushes again. And more specifically this time, which brush do we go with, bristle or nylon? The common question I'm asked is which brush do I go with, a bristle or a nylon or a synthetic brush? Well, of course that all depends on the material that you're using. So there's things that we need to consider, and of course it depends on the material we're using, the product we're using. Is it a latex? Is it oil-based or an alkyd product? Or is it even a hybrid product? When we're staining, a lot of stains today are hybrid, which means they're water-based, but they perform a lot like oil-based products. And you probably heard a lot in the news about the fading out of oil-based or alkyd products. And so we need to be really aware of what we're working with. So first we're going to talk about bristle brushes. When would you select a bristle brush? Well, you would do that if you were using an oil-based or an alkyd product. When we're using paint, we're going to be looking for a black-haired bristle brush. So why do we go with a black-haired bristle brush? Well, most of the time when we're using oil-based paint, it's for trim or doors or situations where we'll be using a light colored paint. It's not a hard and fast rule, but it's usually the case. So the reason again why we're using the black-haired bristle is that if a hair should go astray, you'll be able to see it in the white paint or the light colored paint, and so we can remove it from our surface, our substrate that we're painting. But again, if we select a high quality brush, that shouldn't be a problem, but if it is, you'll know how to deal with it now. So now you're probably wondering why I have this white haired bristle brush. Well, these are primarily used for staining. And here it's somewhat similar to the why we use the dark hair for a light colored paint. Usually the stains are darker, and in this case if we had a stray hair you could see the white hair on the stain, on the dark stain, and then of course you could remove it. These are usually slightly less expensive and usually poorer quality, but by the time you finish your stain project you probably won't be saving this anyway. So just something to consider in your future project. So now we're going to talk about the latex based products. What do we use? Well, of course the most common brush out there is the nylon polyester blend, and this is an excellent choice for regular house paints. So we use this brush when we're doing the most common household painting projects, walls, trim, etc. And we usually use latex based products nowadays. So we want to select this brush, and it's easy to clean with that type of product. So again, we want to use a polyester nylon blend for regular household projects. If you're a DIYer and you're painting your ceiling, walls and trim in your home, you're going to use latex paint, this is the brush to use by all means. So now you might find yourself looking at a specialty project. You might be staining something outdoors in your backyard, maybe a deck or handrail, or maybe you're using a primer or a paint that is 100% acrylic latex designed to really adhere to the material that you're painting. And what you may find, because these products are designed to stick to anything, they really want to stick to your brush. And so you may ask, what brush do I pick to help me with the cleanup process? So in this case, you should look for a brush with a slightly lighter colored filaments. And this is a clue as to it being not only man-made but non-stick. So I'm not promoting any brand over another, but look for a synthetic bristle other than polyester nylon, and this should be easy to clean with warm water and soap. So I tried not to get too complicated on this particular discussion, but just to recap, this is what we look for. So if we're using an oil-based paint, we want to use the black-haired bristle. If we're using an oil-based stain, we want to use the white-haired bristle. If we're using a latex paint for a household project indoors, or outdoors for that matter, use the polyester nylon blend. And if we're using a hybrid paint or stain or 100% acrylic paint, we want to use the light colored man-made fibers that you may find at your local hardware store, wherever you usually shop. So I hope you enjoyed that lesson. I hope it helps you in your selection process as you proceed to do your jobs. And so this has been Craig, the Muskoka Painter, and be sure to subscribe, or if you have any further questions or comments, feel free to leave them on my channel, and we'll see you next time. And remember, I'm here to take the pain out of painting.